Zohran Mamdani's win in the New York City Democratic mayoral primary stokes concerns over his democratic socialist policies as he vows to Trump-proof the Big Apple. For more, let's bring in the Fox News contributor and former NYPD inspector, Paul Mauro. Paul, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Mamdani has said that he's reversing his position on defunding the police. Do you think that this is the type of candidate who's going to moderate if he wins the election in November?
I do not, and I'm certainly not alone in that supposition. Mamdani seems very committed to going even beyond what we saw during the de Blasio years here in New York City, where New York was essentially taken back to the bad old days, pre-Giuliani, pre-broken windows. We lost so much ground that had been gained, and only now, and then of course you had the overlay of COVID, but only now are we starting to get crime numbers that even approach where we were. The problem is that the city has become so inured to the denigrated quality of life that quality of life crimes are not even reported anymore, never mind responded to. There's really not a whole lot the police can do. So police morale is down. They know that they have been handcuffed themselves. And all you have to do is walk through the streets of New York to see how far the quality of life here has gone down. And it's the kind of thing that a mayor like Mamdani is not only going to tolerate, but likely aspire to.
Now, he's running against the incumbent mayor, Eric Adams. Do you think that Adams has a case to make on public safety? And do you think that the forces that are opposed to him, whether they be Republicans, whether they be more centrist Democrats, are going to line up behind Adams and try to defeat Mamdani?
Yeah, it's a real Game of Thrones right now because Andrew Cuomo, who has announced that he's going to stay in the race, and then, of course, the Republican nominee is Curtis Sliwa, who is very strong on the public safety issues. Adams does, however, have a shot. He is the incumbent. He has the ability to make promises to the labor unions right now, who are always an important voting bloc here in New York City. Unfortunately, Mayor Adams' record has been spotty at best. He had his own ethics issues, and as we all know, he was himself indicted. So he's got that albatross. But with Cuomo still in the race, it very much risks the scenario where the anti-Mamdani vote is split, and consequently, Mamdani walks in the door. So right now, it's still very, very murky. There's a good ways to go, but you'd have to give Mamdani the upper hand right now if everybody who's in the race stays in the race.
Now, some of the other public safety issues out there, we've heard some warnings. The FBI is now focusing on the potential for Iranian sleeper cells around the country after the U.S. attacked Iran a week ago. How much of a concern do you think that is? And is there a lot that's going on between the federal government and local departments like the New York Police Department to try to watch out for that?
There is certainly. And one of the reasons for that is because we've had to reconfigure what we're doing on the intelligence front. I did counterterrorism work for approximately 15 years of my career, and I can tell you that the interactions with the federal government are voluminous, especially here in New York, which is always the #1 terrorist target in the country. The problem is that for the last 4 years of the Biden administration, I would argue we took our eye off the ball. The primary threat seemed to have morphed into some amalgam of parents, of Catholics, and white supremacy, which is not the existential threat here in New York or in any of our major cities. So now when you need to reach into that bag to pull out the sources and methods that you need to run against external operations from an entity like Iran, who can project through an entity like Hezbollah, or even now the Sunni Hamas external ops, which is rare, but nonetheless, you have to be prepared for it. You have to hope that infrastructure, that content, those connections are there. And I suspect there's a lot of people right now trying to revivify sources and methods that have been nascent for the last 4 years.
You think New York is prepared for the big party July 4th? And then cities all over the country, too. It's a big birthday leading up to the 250th anniversary of the country next year.
Yeah, it's great. And you know what? Everybody should go about their business and not worry about this stuff. We do have good intelligence services in New York. We have the Intelligence Bureau, the Joint Terrorist Task Forces across the country. They're going to be ready. You have sharp people who know this terrain. I just hope, as I said, that the sources and methods we need are there, but they're going to be prepared. We have a First Amendment society. It's difficult to do this prophylactic work. Our openness, our open society is one of the difficult aspects of all of this, but they're going to be ready. They're doing everything they can, I am sure, and I certainly will be out there.
Paul Mauro, Fox News contributor, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.